I ask my clients all the time, what did they say and what did you hear? Because I think the disconnect between those 2 points is one of the biggest issues when it comes to communication. What do I mean by this? I'm going to play part of a clip from the Diary of a CEO podcast where the host asked his guests if he'd ever seen situations where people just accepted cheating in their relationships. And he provides an answer where he explains, yes, he has seen that. Here we go.
The partner or the other partner that you're not dealing with has accepted
Yes.
the other partner cheating. Well, not cheating, but they've allowed them to just quietly
Yes.
go in.
I've had a lot of people who come in and say to me, he had a bunch of affairs over the years and I just let it go. Like,
really?
Or she had a bunch of affairs over the years and we didn't make an issue of it.
Okay.
The amount of people in the comment section that then started saying that the response indicated that the divorce lawyer was condoning cheating, that he was okay with cheating, that nobody should normalize cheating because cheating will ruin relationships. The amount of people that didn't hear what the answer was that the lawyer provided, or projected their own interpretations onto the answer, or weren't quite listening to what he said, just struck me, because nowhere is he saying in his response that he is condoning cheating, that cheating is okay, that he himself is not normalizing cheating, but what he is doing is providing an answer to a question based upon his years of what he has seen in terms of a pattern of people coming to him and then saying, oh, well, he was having affairs for years and I just let it go, or she was having affairs for years and I just let it go, right? He is repeating what he has seen throughout the course of his career, but nowhere is he saying that nowhere is he making a moral judgment on whether or not that is okay. He is just presenting a fact with evidence of what he's seen over the years. However, the amount of people that then took what he said and either projected their own views onto it or heard something different that wasn't actually what he said, particularly in the comment section, right? I'm only going off of what people wrote down, was mind-blowing to me. And I think that illustrates a big, big issue when it comes to communication and miscommunication and misunderstanding in relationships. What did somebody say and what did you hear? And are those two things like in sync, right? Did what they say, is that what you heard? Or did they say something that was all the way over here and you heard it, something that was all the way over here? And so the gap between those two things is huge.
We didn't make an issue of it.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
really. And see, just the fact that and it's understandable, I'm not criticizing you, but the fact that you go, really? Okay, why would that be that shocking? Like, people cheat all the time. People step outside of their relationship all the time. People like diversity of sexual partners.
He goes on to then explain that in the face of the host's reaction, where the host goes, really? And the divorce lawyer says, yes, really. And then he's like, why would that be so surprising? People cheat all the time. Again, this is not a moralistic or a value judgment that he's making. That's just a factual statement. People cheat all the time. He wasn't saying it was good. He wasn't saying it was bad. He wasn't explaining what his own views were on cheating. He was just making a statement. People cheat all the time, right? There's no value attached to that statement, but people, it seems like, took what he was saying in terms of people cheat all the time, that statement, and then they attributed, oh, well, he must think it's okay, or he's saying that that's fine. Nowhere is he saying that. He was just making a factual statement that people cheat all the time. And in some instances within couples, one or both parties will just choose to ignore or live with the other person's cheating. Again, that's not him making a value judgment about it. That's not me making a value judgment about it. That's just a statement of fact. And when people hear statements, they can then project their own views onto the statement without actually hearing what somebody said. And then the host's next question of whether or not the divorce lawyer has ever seen an affair in the presence of someone being in love. And I think his response to that is so illuminating and great.
Okay, so here's the question then. Have you ever seen an affair in the presence of someone being in love?
I don't know that I'd be qualified to say whether someone was in love or not. Here's what I will say, because love is an emotion and love is a verb.
Do you know
So
what I'm saying?
I've certainly seen people that were having affairs and in every aspect of their outward life appear to be deeply committed to their marriage. They were an economic provider. They were a diligent parent. They were attentive to the emotional state of their partner. They still had an active sexual relationship with their partner, but it wasn't let's say, a terribly prolific one, perhaps.
And his response was so great because love is an emotion and love is a verb. But then he goes on to say, explain exactly what you just saw, right? That he's seen cheating in the presence of somebody who was outwardly displaying all of the markers of somebody being in a successful relationship. They were a provider. They were present for the kids. There was still the presence of a sexual relationship. So the long and short of this is that people are complicated, right? There can be a lot of things that people choose to do in their relationships that you or I might not choose to do in our relationships, and vice versa. However, when somebody is saying something, it is really, really important for you to determine if what you heard them say was what they actually said, or if you were projecting some of your own views, values, morals, interpretations onto what that person said, particularly if you were having a conversation with somebody about a topic that might be sensitive or a topic that might be triggering, right? We really need to make sure that we are hearing what somebody said and not what we think they said, so that when we are responding to them, we are responding to what they actually said and not just what we think they said. And then at the very end, when the host asks if you can cheat and be in love, and the divorce lawyer says, yeah. And then he talks about, like, he uses the analogy of being on a diet and then having a cheat meal, and there's something great about a cheat meal, right?
So you can cheat and be in love?
Sure. I mean, listen, just the term cheat, like, okay, well, then a cheat meal. Like, you can be on a healthy diet and enjoy a cheat meal. And there's something great about it because it's a cheat meal. It's like a little thing you do to treat yourself. And then you go back to eating healthy and regular, right?
I can see some people reacting to that and being like, oh, well, he's condoning cheating if he's saying, like, cheat, there's something great about a cheat meal. Okay, like, that's where you would then, if you're having a conversation with somebody about a topic that you want clarification on, then you ask them to illuminate further. Okay, you gave me this analogy about a cheat meal, so what are you saying about affairs or cheating when you use the cheat meal analogy? Maybe he wasn't attaching a value judgment to it. Maybe he was just saying there is something great about a cheat meal, which anybody who's been on a diet, depending on how they view their diet, might say, yeah, there's something great about a cheat meal. Or do they just genuinely like eating healthy and want something different potentially, but like want to go back to eating healthy? Maybe that's the case too, right? If you're talking about a topic that is incredibly important, something along the lines of cheating in a relationship, or something equally as important and big and like a vital part of your life, you want to get clarity on what somebody said. You don't want to assume that you know what they meant by what they said if you are at all confused. And so that's another point, right? You want to make sure you heard what they said. But if you heard what they said and you're like, wait, but I have questions, ask the questions so that you can get clarity on what the answers are.